Hello everyone. So this lecture is a workshop class today, and what we are is we're going to be analyzing some U.S. large cap equity portfolio managers and specifically their performance. All right, so if you look at the instructions for this, we want to know whether an experienced active equity portfolio manager can outperform the passive S&P 500 index. So basically an active equity profile manager, that's the person that is looking at their mutual fund. They're making the trades and stuff. And really in finance, a lot of times we get compared back to the S&P 500 index because truthfully it does a pretty good job. And so what we're going to do is we've got some data from Morningstar, and we're looking at U.S. large cap equity portfolios. And we want to look at, is there a relationship between the manager tenure, so how long the manager has been managing a fund, the expense ratio. One of the things with these managed funds is you do have to pay a fee to use them, and their 5, 10, and 15-year annualized returns. So basically we want to know, hey, the longer a manager's been working there, is there any correlation between that and how much money we get back in the 5, 10, 15-year mark? Same thing with expense ratio. Is there a correlation between if that's a higher expense ratio, if we're paying more money, are we going to get better performance? Now, the data that we've provided you is 477 mutual funds. You can see it all in here. And we've got all the data as we go across here. Now, I will point out that the professor, this was put together for me by a finance professor. He was kind of nice because he moved a lot of the stuff that we're going to be using to the front column. And so this has been picked up. It's ready to go. And so what are we doing in today's exercise? So we are going to do a performance analysis. And so we want to get the descriptive statistics for our managers. We want to create summary statistics for the managers. And in fact, if we look here, we've got, here's all of our data. And if we go to the second sheet, we actually have some stuff kind of set up for us already to play with. And so this is where we're going to go and we're going to kind of fill things out. So if we go back here, we want to look at the summary statistics for the data. Now, we are looking at 3 different things. We are looking at the 5-year, the 10-year, and the 15-year. So keep that in mind. And so what I want to do is, on that second sheet where we have it set up, is I want to compare the mean returns for the active managers back to the S&P 500 index. And so the S&P 500 is already listed for you in there, telling you the returns for a 5, 10, and 15-year. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at that, and then I want you to take a look at the mean, median, range, count, skew, all those descriptive statistics, and look at it and see, is there something there? Is there something that I can say about the data? And then we're going to do a correlation analysis. We're going to look at the coefficients between the 5, 10, and 15-year annualized returns and the manager tenure. So that would be one set of correlations. But we also want to take a look at the correlation with the expense ratios. So when you look on the sheet here, it's already set up. We have correlation coefficient for the 5, 10, and 15 years on the manager returns. Now this needs to be fixed. This should be 5, 10, and 15 years on the expense ratio. So we want to look at the correlation coefficients for each one of those. And once we get that in there, I want you to look at it and answer this question right here. This is the main one. Does manager tenure translate into better results? And you can use I want you to use the description of your descriptive statistics, and your correlation will tell you. So remember, correlation is talking about how well data is interrelated to each other. What's the relationship? Now, the next thing is, after you look at manager tenure, do the same thing for expense ratio. And so take a look at that, and are there performance benefits to investors that select funds with a high or low expense ratio? And after we do that, the next thing to do is we want to look at scatter plots. And once again, the same kind of thing. We are looking return and manager tenure, return and expense ratio. And so after you look over all of that, the last one here is the recommendations. Just in a quick paragraph, summarize the findings, include the strength and the direction of the correlations, and make a recommendation on the analysis. Now, we're doing all of this in Excel, but it would be good to also be able to make the graphs in Tableau, but prompt the AI to write a Python code to make some of these calculations too. Once again, all good practice. Be very careful, though, when you're doing both the Excel, the Python, and the Tableau, that the sheet is set up for it and there's nothing below those columns. A lot of you have the habit of, I'm going to write an equation and I'm just going to select the whole column. If there's some other data in there at the bottom, it could mess things up. So that's what we have, and that's what your class for today is. So please go and do that. Email me with any questions and I will talk to you about it. And I will have another video at the end to kind of discuss things to see how you were doing.